Morning Exercises, October 17th. It is high time to awake out of sleep. Romans 13:11. These words regard Christians themselves. This is undeniable from the motive subjoined. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Are believers then asleep? Not in the sense they once were. This would be impossible. But there are found, even in them, some remains of their former depravity. Though the good work is begun in them, it is far from being accomplished. While the bridegroom tarried, even the wise virgins slumbered and slept. Yes, Christians, alas, are often in a drowsy state, and oftener in a drowsy frame. This is sadly reproachful. What, drowsy in examining themselves whether they be in the faith, drowsy in praising the God of their salvation, drowsy in seeking mercy and grace to help them in time of need, drowsy in serving their generation by the will of God. Are they not the disciples of Jesus? Did he ever speak an idle word? Did he ever lose a useful moment? I must work, said he, the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh wherein no man can work. Yet, if the address be proper for Christians, how much more necessary is it for those who are entirely regardless of the things that belong to their peace. Surely for them it is high time to awake out of sleep. If we consider how long they have been sleeping, we ought to lament that we have lost any of our precious hours and opportunities. However short it may have been, the time past of our life should more than suffice wherein we have lived to the will of man. What then should those feel who have sacrificed the whole of their youth, perhaps the vigor of mature age? What should those feel who perhaps have grown gray in the service of sin and the world? The later we begin, the more zealous should we be to redeem the advantages we have lost, and to overtake those who are wise enough to set off early. When Caesar in Spain met with a statue of Alexander, he wept at the thought that this illustrious conqueror had achieved so much before he had even begun his career. High time, if we consider that the day is arrived, and the sun is risen so high. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. We can say more than the apostle. The night is spent, the day is fully come, and we are all the children of the light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others. They that sleep, sleep in the night. Look into nature. The sun ariseth, and man goeth forth unto his work, and to his labor, until the evening. The sun shines not for us to sleep, but to discharge the duties of our stations by its luster. And why is the gospel given us? Why is our duty so plainly made known, but that we may follow it? And why are the blessings of divine grace so clearly set before us, but that we may seek them? Our obligations always increase with our advantages. To him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin. And the servant that knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, shall be beaten with many stripes. For where much is given, much will be required. High time if we consider the business they have to do. I am doing, said Nehemiah to some who would have interrupted him, I cannot come down to you, I am doing a great work. How much more may a Christian say this? He has an enterprise connected with the soul and God and eternity. Some things are desirable, and some are useful, but this is absolutely indispensable. Sufficient in itself alone, and needful where the world our own. Neglect in many a concern is injurious, but here it is ruinous, ruinous of everything, and ruinous forever. High time if we consider the nature of the season in which this difficult and all-important work is to be accomplished. It is short, and there is but a step between us and death. It is uncertain in its continuance, and may be terminated every moment by some of those numberless dangers, internal and external, to which we are exposed, and once gone, it can never be renewed. No place will be found for repentance, though we seek it carefully with tears. High time if we consider the danger they are in. If a man was sleeping in a house, and the fire was seen not only to be kindled, but raging over his apartment, or approaching rapidly his door, or ready to catch the very curtains of his bed, who would not think it high time for him to awake and escape for his life? This is but a weak representation of the danger of sinners. They are condemned already. The wrath of God abideth on them. They are nigh unto cursing. Their end is to be burned. Their destruction is not only insured, but begun. And we are required to save with fear, pulling them out of the fire. High time to awake out of sleep, if we consider that all besides are awake. God is awake. Angels are awake. Glorified saints are awake. Brutes are awake. The children of this generation are awake. Devils are awake. Death is awake. Damnation is awake. Their damnation slumbereth not. It is high time to awake out of sleep. Is it not too late? Have I not reason to fear that I have passed the bounds of divine patience, that the Lord hath shut to the door, that in resentment of my neglects and provocations he hath given me over to a reprobate mind, and he hath poured upon me the spirit of slumber? And hence it is that I hear so often with indifference, and that nothing affects me now as it once did. But may I not hope that his long suffering will yet be my salvation, that he has spared me so long to afford space for repentance, that the seriousness of this retirement is another call of mercy, that the uneasiness, the dread, the desire I now feel is a token for good, that the lingering of pity still cries, How shall I give thee up? Lord, save, I perish.